Jordan Peterson said, "Don't practice what you don't want to become." And I began to understand that our life is nothing else but practice. I practice good things because otherwise bad things practice me. You have to be in control of your practice. That's what I'm trying to learn to do, because every single thing in my life is practice. I even learned something recently that I have to practice even rest. I have to schedule rest. I have to schedule something that help me to rest from my work. Otherwise, it usually tend to turn into just laziness, and laziness leads to unintentional practice of something bad that eventually will practice you. And once I start scheduling my rest, I try to control my rest. It's not scrolling iPhone or browsing online for something uncertain. It's something that helps me to really have rest from mental and intellectual labor, for example. The best rest I learn is to work out daily and also to watch a good movie that would help me to feel better, for example. And I have to practice daily all the time, every day, before you go to sleep, and then when you wake up, you practice your life. And what I learned is that my body is like a car, and something put me inside this car that I didn't build. And the only way I can control this car is to learn through practice to slam on the brakes when this car tries to turn into the wrong directions. And I practice this through small things to be able to be ready to slam on the brakes when something big happens as well. Because all small things that I don't want to do but somehow I'm doing, I try to stop myself from doing them. Because life is no joke, and often we start big disastrous mistakes with a small one. Because I usually can trace my own big mistakes to tiny ones that I thought was not bad, I thought like, oh, it's just a small tiny mistakes, it's not a big deal. But the problem is something in me remembered that I didn't do nothing about those little tiny mistakes, that I didn't make no correction. And eventually what happened to me is I went to bigger mistakes, and it's really hard to correct when you make bigger mistakes. And your body, yes, your body is like a car. And you didn't ask for this car, but that's all you have. And that's all I have. I always thought that, what's the point to complain about life? You got cards to play. And unfortunately, our cards not good. But it's all I have, and I have to learn how to play with them. And that's the point. I have to look for solution to solve the problems and to understand what I can improve about myself to become a better person. That would help me to achieve something I always wanted to achieve. Because I have a goal, and I should have a goal, and I have to aim high. Otherwise, what's the point of life? And I think all our tragedy comes from inability to accept who we are. The real fight with acceptance who you are, because once you accept who you are, you start changing yourself on someone you want to be. That's what I'm doing right now, because I try to change myself on someone I really want to be. Because the way I was, it wasn't enough for me to understand the world and to achieve something meaningful in the frame of this world, because something in me preventing me from doing so, something in me preventing even understanding of the books I used to read, because I keep reading them right now and understand them quite differently and derive different meaning. It's so fascinating if you think about, for example, our consciousness, because our consciousness half second behind our brain. It means that my body makes decision on its own, and I'm half second behind to understand the consequences of those decisions. And what I should do, I should react properly and veto most of those decisions, because most of those decisions might be pretty wrong for me and my body. It's like I and me. I, it's my consciousness, and me, it's my body. And how I can do this? Through practicing of things I shouldn't do, and through practicing through things I should do. I have to learn, I have to understand what I should do and what I shouldn't do. And why? Because I'm a reasonable creature, and I want to be able to explain myself the reasoning why I don't want to do this and why I don't want to do that. And life, you have to keep control over your life. That's what, again, I'm trying to learn. I try to control my life, every aspect of my life, because I cannot control outside of my environment, but what I can do, I can develop a right attitude toward things I cannot control, and at least I can control my attitude toward those things. I try to practice to develop within me that I would be less affected emotionally by things I cannot control. And once I can do this, it's easy to take a step toward unknown and to find the meaning of my life. Because to find the meaning of my life, I learned one thing: I have to be able to make proper sacrifice. What exactly is proper sacrifice? It's something that you really don't want to make, something that would make you embarrassed, something that you give 90% of yourself to the flames, where you have to where you have to go through some changes within yourself. Because all of us have something we want to change about ourselves, but we don't have enough strength nor courage to do so, because I have no idea what would happen to me when I completely change myself, because I have to overwrite my old architecture with a new system. And sometimes I even don't recognize myself anymore, because I keep doing something I quit before many times. But now I'm in a new territory, on a new land, in a desert, where I have to handle this environment all by myself. And how to handle this? Through practice, because I know what I should do and I know what my next step should be. And it's fascinating because, for example, why it's important to practice art, to read books. Because you try to expand yourself, you have to become more than your biology. And the one thing that helps you to become more than your biology, it's your I. Because my I, for example, can appreciate, can be aware of me as my body. When my body, through practice, accumulate some skills that helps my body to create, while I can enjoy this creation, can be aware of this creation, and can actually understand the meaning of life through those creation. That's what art is incredibly important. When I play piano, I feel like I'm meditating, like I try to distance myself from myself, let my fingers run over the keys and extract the tune that affect I in some incredible way, and interesting thoughts. And I can observe within myself interesting thoughts while playing the melody, for example, some classic melody that survived hundreds and 200 years. And the practicing is the most important thing. I have to keep practicing. I think we should practice till the day we die. And I'm learning about myself. It's really hard with the years go by to keep practicing the same things, but that's the only way to grow. It's the only way to understand the significance of your life. Otherwise, I can just, if I stop practicing, for example, tomorrow, bad things would emerge back, and they start practicing me, they start writing my story. And when bad things practice me, when they write the story for me, it means I have no control over my life, and I have no control over I. And I think what hell is, if you think about it carefully, I think what real hell is when your body is in control of you, of I, and you're aware of this, and you can do nothing about it, and in some sense, you live in hell, and you're aware fully of this hell because your body is in charge of you, and your body drag you inside of all this abyss of your urges, developing within you resentfulness and envies and all those bad qualities that you just hate within you, and you project all those hateful qualities upon the world, and you hate the world as well. And that's, I think, this self-awareness, this I that can do nothing about it, is the hell, because you have to face yourself in hell and see yourself from many perspectives, from many angles. And the deeper you go to hell, the harder to aim up and the harder to understand what is the exit from this hell. That's what I'm terrified of, because it's really easy to become resentful. Because I have this too, resentfulness. But the problem is, if you even resentful to other people, if you decided to blame somebody who you believe affected your life in a bad way, the problem is you attach yourself like a debtor, like a creditor to a debtor who cannot pay this debt. And you attach to this person forever with this hate. You just have to let it go. That's what I'm trying to do. I have to let it go, because it doesn't matter what happened in the past. What happened is what happened in now, and how I can improve myself, and what kind of practice I can develop within my life in this framework where I can become a better human being. Because once I'm becoming a better human being, my life meaning becomes more obvious, and I'm walking towards something. That's what I think the important stuff, to walk towards something, and to learn every day something new, or practicing what I already learned. Otherwise, life is just jumping from one urge to another, and then deal with the consequences of those jumps. And consequences usually come. You cannot avoid consequences, and you can bend reality as much as you want. Eventually it would snap back and hit you in between your eyes. And that's why I try to avoid, because I don't want to bend reality. I want to practice myself to face reality the way I can reshape it toward something meaningful. Because in some sense, we perceive reality through our own eyes, through I and through me. And we have to align I and me into one entity that collaborate with each other and work in union to achieve such a meaning. Because life can be beautiful if you practice your body to learn skills that would enrich your consciousness. And once it starts happening, you suddenly realize, wow, life is so magic and so rich. And the real richness of life in the skills you keep learning on the way of living. And when your final hour comes, the point, like people, I read about a lot of people who had regrets when on their day bad. It's not what they did wrong, but what they didn't do but always wanted. That's what I don't want to become like them, because I want to do everything I always wanted. And even if some of those things turn out to be wrong and I was incorrect, I still want to do them because I don't know. Just have to listen to myself, have to listen to this tiny voice that always tells me what is the right thing to do. Or you practice good things, or bad things practice you.